the brand.
You got to understand personal branding, and your personal branding, and I know we may have talked about this before, but personal branding is the key to get to the opportunity that you're looking for. Your image will only bring you or carry you as far as your personal brand will, right? And personal branding is literally just the extension of yourself. So a brand is an extension of a story that needs to be told out to the world, right? And so if your personal brand, which means your personal story, is articulated correctly and expressed to the world correctly, opportunities to then be in rooms that you've never been in will then come to you faster than you ever could imagine. Simply because when you start to tell your brand story or tell your story in general, people are going to want to know you as long as the story is unique enough. So the first thing that you need to understand is who and what are you trying to attract? Are you attracting men? Are you attracting women? Are you attracting men or women that are into food? Are they into style and fashion? Are they into personal development? Are they into business? Are they into sneakers? Are they into clothing? You understand? When you're figuring out who you're trying to speak to, you have to make an archetype for them. And an archetype is simply just a character that has certain traits, that does certain things, that interests are in a specific way. And so when you have this archetype, you understand that, okay, this is the person that I'm targeting. This is who I'm looking to get to, whether buy into my brand, like my story. You want people that you cater to and that can really resonate with the message that you speak. For me, I like self-improvement that promotes image that brings opportunity towards you in a business manner. Right? So that's the type of person I'm looking for. The person who wants to undergo self-development, improve their image, and make more money by doing so. That's really it. Right? So you want to understand what your story is about and what's your unique flair that can attract a certain type of person. The idea is that you want to align that personal brand, that brand story, towards a certain set of values and goals that you hold dearly. So this is similar to the why video, like finding your why or having a why. You want your personal brand to be structured in a way that it's held and clinged on to something that's strong enough to continue even when shit gets hard, even when you don't want to, even when someone gives you a lot of money up front, right? Because when things get hard, it doesn't always mean that you're going to go through hard times and tribulations. Sometimes it is you don't want to bend or break one of your values for money, but yet the money is so great that, hey, should I? Right. So you want your values to be strong enough and your ideals to be so strong that you hold to them no matter what's presented to you. Right. And so think about that for a bit. When you're about to build your personal brand, when you're about to tell your story to the world, figure out what the values were that you've held on for the lifetime that you've been on this planet. What are those ideals? What are those values? What are things you're not willing to compromise on? Where's your moral compass? What does that look like for you? Because it's different for everybody. Some people bend some people bend when it comes to money, right? Like you get offered, and I hate those little memes that'll be like, would you rather 100 million or this to do this, right? It plays off of your morals. And you can understand if those questions are ever asked, whether it be about your sexuality, whether it be about your masculinity, whether it be about whatever the case may be, you can really understand where someone sits on their moral compass. And what they'll bend for and what they won't bend for by how they answer to those questions. As much as I hate them, when they're asked in the general public, my mouth shuts and my ears open up because I want to hear you. I want to understand what morals you cling on to, right? So you want to figure out those morals and goals that you have for your personal brand that have brought you this far, so that when you're telling your story, when you're making a product, when you're writing a book, when you're giving out a free ebook, whenever you're doing anything, that those values and morals stay consistent to your personal brand and what you're putting out. Because the archetype that you're looking to sell to or attract wants to always feel that consistency, right? If I'm a masculine man who has very strong morals and values, and respects that people put down their boundaries, do you think I'm going to cling to a brand that always breaks their values, or cling to a brand that's very consistent in reminding me that these are their strong values? I'm going to cling to the one that's they're showing off their strong values because that's what I value. And I'm the archetype that they're trying to attract. So it's all about attracting your tribe, attracting the people that will push your brand forward. What are those values that you've really stuck by and have been the forefront to your brand and to your story? Figure those out, write those down, and make sure every product that you make or anything that you do aligns up with those morals and values. The key step, or the last step, to really wrap it all together is similar to the value step, but now it's making sure that your brand is staying consistent, right? So as you change, as you grow, and as life continues to flow, you can't then abandon your story. Don't abandon your brand, your personal brand, because life got rocky. Don't abandon your personal brand because you see something shiny over there. Don't abandon what you truly are for something else, right? And when you get into the ranks of making books, making a clothing line like merch or whatever, making anything that pertains to your personal brand, you want to stay consistent. So wear your clothes. Like right now I'm wearing Nike. Nike has its own brand story, right? Does Unruly have their brand story? Sure. But do we have clothing? No. But at the point in which we have clothing, do you think I'm going to wear Nike? No. I'm going to wear my own, right? When we first dropped Unruly, the clothing, a couple years ago as a test run, it did phenomenal. But what did I do? I abandoned my personal brand because I was going through different challenges of life because I was really young. That's it. Right? So now that you're a bit older, you understand the game, you've gone through and experienced life a bit, you're more knowledgeable, you're more wise, you're going to cling on to the things that you know work, right? So if you understand branding now, you've gone through marketing, you've been in the corporate office with marketing, so now you start to understand that these things shouldn't be abandoned, but they should always be clung on to, and you should always exhaust any opportunity you have to push your personal brand, right? And if you're pushing your personal brand in business, it needs to be like a shark. You don't need to be this docile, closed off person. No, this is who you are. This is what you represent. And these are the values of that. Personal brand, right there. And anyone who sees you should always automatically think of the values and what you stand for. That's it. So your personal brand, you should never, ever stop pushing. And stay consistent with your messaging. Like this messaging about personal brand goes under the same category that I'm trying to push for my own personal brand, right? And you then cut this up, or I cut this up, editors cut this up, and put it on socials across all platforms, staying consistent to the messaging, right? And when life gets hard, life gets rocky, you still stay consistent to the messaging. Right? You may not have dropped a new pair of clothing for a while, but you still wear your clothes. Same style of messaging, right? So keep your messaging the same, keep your brand in flow, keep the morals and the values consistent, and don't change up for anything or anyone. If you see places that you can improve, yes, implement the improvements, but it should never change the foundational core that you're building a personal brand from. Your story is your story, bro. And so whatever you are, you should represent into that brand, because it's so easy to be your own personal brand, but you have to know that that's who you are and that's what you stand for, right? And it doesn't matter what flip of the coin you are, but as long as you know that this is where I stand and everyone knows that's where you stand and you don't bend the knee for anything or anyone, you'll die at the stake, right? And I got an interesting story from college that has always stuck with me, and it almost reinforces this, which is I was writing a paper for my public speaking class. It was like saying sticking to what you know, even though it may not be the status quo, right? So even though the mainstream media or mainstream society may not follow the messaging, stick where you are, because that's where you need to be and that's what you feel is right. So you stay by it. Right? And so I wrote the paper. My professor pulled me aside one day. We went to lunch, and she basically explained that that's the things that get men killed. I said, no, that's the thing that get powerful men killed. Right? She shed a tear. and she gave me a hug, and she explained that's what will happen if you gain traction in any of the realms that you're in and don't bend to whatever society. And I said, well, that's exactly why we do the things we do, right? And so in any realm where you see martyrs, you see people who have died for their morals and values, you see people who've gained mass attraction, you see a degradation of who they are. Right? Because the people can't stand when people stand on their morals. They can't. Like, when people stick to their morals and stick to their values, that means they don't bend for your petty little ask or request. They don't bend because you present them money. They don't bend because you give them an opportunity. They don't bend at all. They don't care. The morals and their values are what they sit on and die for. Right? So you have to be comfortable with understanding not everyone's going to be on your side when it comes to your story. Not everyone's going to be on your side when it comes to your morals and values, but you're going to stick to it and stay consistent to it because that's who you are. You wouldn't be who you are without it. Right? So no matter where you go, no matter how much opportunities come to you, always remember that second step, which is always staying consistent and true to your morals and values and goals that you have for your personal brand, which is your story. Stay true to your story, because you're not going to get another one. And if you fuck it up too early, hey, you might live a miserable life thinking like, yo, what if I stuck true and stayed true to my my story and my goals and visions and morals of that story, right? The conversations that I'm having now are the same conversations I had on a different YouTube channel 5 years ago. The exact same. And I have them on a hard drive. Right? And maybe I'll show them, maybe I'll let them out. But not only have I gained more wisdom, gained more experience, gained more understanding, that those videos may be outdated, the undertone of those messages are still the same. The values and the morals of being image, of bringing image and self-improvement to gain and capture money is still the same. Right? So never switch up on your personal brand. Understand it. Figure out what those morals and goals are. Write those down. And then figure in at the base, before you even start any of this, figure out the archetype that you're looking to attract. Who are you? Who do you want to be in your community? Who do you want to resonate with your personal brand? Who are you looking for? Right? Figure those out, figure out your morals and values, and then go ahead and be consistent across all platforms, no matter what walk of life that you go into. Your morals and your morals, your values, and your goals will stay true, and that'll be your golden rod and ticket to get through life. Boy, Mr. Brown.